SBI Perspectives. Driven by insights delivered from experience.
Welcome to SBI TV. Driven by insights and delivered from experience, SBI helps innovative companies grow their revenue, margin, and enterprise value in ways never before possible. I'm Tony Erickson, your host and Managing Director at SBI. Today's guest is Jarrod Johnson, Chief Revenue Officer at TaskUs. Jarrod participated in SBI's Fall Sales Leader Growth Advisory Board last month. One of the areas everyone agreed needed further exploration was customer experience. Jarrod, we're so glad to host you on the show again. Why don't you give us an overview of TaskUs for our audience?
Hi, thanks. I'm happy to be here. TaskUs, we like to say we are outsourcing reimagined for the innovation age. We specialize in digital customer experience support, content moderation for online platforms and social media companies, and the development of AI and machine learning algorithms for some of the hottest tech disruptors in the industry.
Excellent. That's great. Thank you for that. So to get us started, SBI surveyed go-to-market leaders earlier this year, asking if they have a significant customer experience initiative planned for 2022. 67% responded yes. And when we segmented the data to look at those companies with the highest consistent growth rate, 85% of that group has planned at least one major initiative for the next year. These same companies are generating more revenue through digital channels than their peers. A few other findings emerged with the high performers. They were 10 times more likely to have the tech needed to deliver a digital customer experience, 5 times more likely to have advanced CX initiatives focused on product adoption, and 2 times more likely to have a success capability with strong sales and marketing alignment. TaskUs works with some of the most recognized global brands. So Jarrod, how can companies mature their digital go-to-market strategy and make progress quickly?
I think many of them were forced to over the past 18 months when digital just exploded. Almost every business had to find some new way to sell online or create a new channel for customers. So we've seen a ton of adoption, same things you're saying in your data. Mm-hmm. The ones who are winning are the ones who tended to be a step or two ahead, already were on mobile, already were on digital. But what we see from those leading brands is that they think about the digital interactions with their customers or clients pretty holistically. They start with brand, so they are pretty adept at social media. Their online presence are strong. They know how to get their brand out in the marketplace digitally. They also know how to acquire customers through digital channels, and they figured out how to do it in not just traditional, PC-based commerce, but they're doing it on web. They're doing it on social. They're transacting on platforms like Facebook. They're finding ways to generate revenue and acquire customers digitally. And then third, they've normally found some sort of way to drive retention and reduce churn in that customer base also through digital channels. So they have ways of really adapting customer success models to make sure they're there and available for you and that you're happy with things through digital channels, not just through face-to-face interactions.
So if I sum that up, as cliche as it sounds, they are reducing their acquisition cost, increasing their lifetime value through reducing churn and improving retention rates.
I think so, yeah.
That's kind of like the trifecta for any company if you're looking at typical metrics that any kind of a software company or any company virtually would want in terms of customer lifetime value and generating value for their client base.
Yeah, and I think it's hard because especially brick and mortar businesses or traditional legacy businesses, they're having to transform all those processes, tools, and systems and retrain personnel to now interact in those digital channels. So it's the trifecta, but it's a whole new way of having to deliver on that trifecta. And so some are good at one piece versus the other, and they're all still optimizing processes, trying to get that stuff right.
Okay. No, that's interesting. Very good. So one of the things you shared in the Growth Advisory Board meeting about the power of NPS data and digging deeper into the why behind the scores to really understand points of friction in different customer journeys. Many of our clients measure NPS, but how would you advise companies to dig deeper into the data to identify friction points and compare customer journeys?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have clients struggle with this, and everybody kind of adapts and evolves in this. How do I understand better my customer survey data? What am I getting from it? I mean, the first thing you need to do is measure it. We support NPS. There's a lot of different methodologies out there, but the Net Promoter Score methodology, which I believe was originally developed by Bain, gives a little bit more granularity because it's on a 1 to 10 scale. So the first thing is we would say do it and then follow that method of understanding what a promoter is, what a passive is, and what a detractor is. When you get that granularity in the scoring, you can really watch over time how a customer will move from one definition into the next. And you can watch, how am I moving my passives up to promoters? How am I moving my detractors just up to passive? Especially in annuity or services businesses where the customer lifetime value, you're going to be able to measure that multiple times. The second thing is we encourage clients to offer more questions beyond just how likely are you to recommend our business to your friends and family? That's the classic Net Promoter Score question. We really recommend gathering verbatims. So leaving that open field for people to come back and give you color, and then mining that data for trends, keywords, common problems. You can get a lot from the richness of data in verbatims. In addition to that, we recommend having a few brief questions that get one level deeper. Okay. So, how was your implementation with us? How do you feel about your day-to-day operations? Are we a strategic partner? Those kinds of things, getting one level deeper and then trying to leave those questions in the question set consistently, meaning quarter over quarter, year over year, you can see how your business is performing on these sub-segmented questions. And you can watch, as you make investments in your operational processes, you can watch the NPS scores in your ops question go up over time. Or if you're trying to invest in more innovative products, more leading edge products, you can see your customers score you over time on that dimension. And it's really powerful to get a feedback loop on your investments and initiatives. Okay.
So 2 follow-up questions. First one, as a person who grew up in the outsourcing industry, thinking about typical IT outsourcing and SLAs that are 3, 4, 5 nines of uptime.
Yeah.
Outsourcing Reimagine is very different. So are you guys getting to outcome-based outsourcing? That is, we're going to help you baseline and move X percentage of detractors to passives or passives to promoters. I mean, are those the kind of outcome bases that you're getting into and your clients are expecting of TaskUs?
Yes, that's exactly right. Commercial models tend to lag a little bit what we see our clients ask for in terms of outcomes. So we may not always have outcome-based commercial models, but similar to the old days in IT outsourcing, right? How many times did I measure 100 service levels and they were all green and the client said, my service still sucks.
The green dashboard, and it's like, hey, how do you feel about the delivery you're receiving? Because it looks green.
Yeah. I mean, that's the challenge with these kind of business-to-business relationships all the time.
Yep.
But more and more, especially in consumer-driven services, so when we're supporting clients support their end customers, understanding the methodology they measure client satisfaction, the ways they measure churn, acquisition, and customer lifetime value, we're trying to align all of our operational execution to achieve those outcomes. And more, especially with our client set, they are less cost-focused on, how do I lower my total cost of customer support? They are much more focused on taking share in the marketplace by delivering a differentiated customer experience. I think a lot of the SBI survey data, as well as what we see in the marketplace, is customer service and customer experience is more and more becoming a differentiator because the barriers to entry in these markets due to digital channels are lowering. So it's much harder to differentiate long-term on technical feature functionality. So more and more that customer experience journey and differentiation becomes paramount.
And that is a perfect lead into the second question because you talked about a lot of metrics there. So how many of the metrics are standard and all of your companies, all of your clients are measuring these 10 versus how bespoke are they to their specific business? And how do you balance, a one-size-fits-all versus a one-of-one mentality?
Yeah, I would say the big 3 are some measure of customer satisfaction, some measure of quality, which is really getting at the experience go as we designed it to go. So you could do things exactly as you designed them, and a customer still might not be satisfied. But you're trying to measure, did we execute the process as we wanted?
Yep.
And then the third is some sort of efficiency metric. Did I get that done without wasting a whole bunch of time and money along the way? What's interesting about customer-oriented processes is that they are highly customized to the brand or product or market that our clients are serving. Unlike some other back office processes, we talk about IT outsourcing, HR process outsourcing, F&A process outsourcing. You want that to be fairly standardized for scale and efficiency. In the case of customer-oriented processes, everybody's trying to differentiate, innovate, and make that experience unique while being able to do it at scale and consistency. So it's while there are those big three, we see a lot of customization around how they're measured. Other things they also want to measure, like defect rates or return rates, resolution rates on first touch, these kinds of things. So the big three are normally in there, and then you've got sort of a longer tail of 4 or 5 other maybe key metrics for that particular brand.
So it's interesting, and kind of close this line of questioning out on this point is, when I think about outsourcing, historically the message was always things that are non-core to your business. Right. But what TaskUs is doing are things that are absolutely right in the middle of the core of your business, and improving retention and reducing acquisition and generating lifetime value. If that's not core to a business, I don't know what is. So that's really a testament to what you guys have done in terms of shifting the outsourcing mentality of going after core capabilities that are key to a client's success.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and what we believe is that this is our core business, right? And so while these processes are core to our clients, we can bring them a level of expertise in some of these areas that they may not have in-house today. We can also bring them a level of scale, global footprint, an employee base and talent base globally that they might not be able to access on their own. So we're augmenting what is a core strategy for them, for sure.
Yeah, interesting. That's exciting. Our latest research shows top performing commercial leaders are balancing headcount additions with investments in sales enablement and digital selling, looking to boost productivity and sales capacity through strong digital buying experiences. These same companies are generating more revenue through digital channels than their peers and re-envisioning how marketing supports growth efforts. How are you, as a commercial leader, making it easier for customers to engage with TaskUs across various buying channels?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're unique in the sense that we are a B2B business, so our average order size, if you will, our average contract is millions of dollars, not hundreds of dollars. Where we've been investing is around making the experience, regardless of the size of customer that you are with TaskUs, very white glove. We are fortunate. We're a younger business, only 13 years old, 100% cloud-based. So we have an agility and a systems base which allows us to really configure and customize the experience for our clients. For our largest clients, white glove normally means making sure we've got customer relationship resources there at their fingertips all the time to answer questions. And normally we are investing in like data science and insights to try to uncover information about what's going on in the day-to-day operation that they can't see because they've outsourced it. Okay. So we have a front line that's highly engaged. We try to generate insights from those frontline teammates who are doing the work, and then we try to look at the operational data and call out things that are causing dissatisfaction, things that are causing satisfaction, things that are causing better retention and maybe follow-on purchases, and feeding that back to the brand. So that, at our largest clients, that's where we're really investing in white glove. In the longer tail of the business, it's harder to invest in those things. They're smaller clients. They may have not as big of a footprint where the data is not quite as meaningful. So we're trying there to automate their relationship with us, get them that information access themselves, provide real-time reporting, digital access to purchase more services, purchase additional services, and just make that buying experience as frictionless as possible for what I'll call kind of the longer tail of the business. And in some ways, when you standardize that and provide them that automation, then the people who are managing those relationships are able to be more high touch because they're not doing administrative tasks. They're not dealing with invoicing and billing and reporting because all that's been automated. So that's kind of how we're attacking it, a white glove at both ends of the spectrum based on size of client.
So that reminds me of an interesting story. So if you're familiar with John Chambers' autobiography, Connecting the Dots, I love the story where he talks about all escalations at Cisco came to him and were on his voicemail, and I guess every morning he checked it and routed them and triaged them. A little bit old school, not the most digital solution in the world, but if you think about that, how do you guys work with your clients to make sure escalations are at the appropriate level, being handled at the appropriate time, the SLAs around it? Because when you get that negative feedback, whether it's in a score or whether it's in a verbatim, follow-up is key. So how do you drive that behavior and put the tools in place to make sure that customers feel heard and they're being reached out to and problems are being handled?
I'll give you two answers to this. I'll give you an answer from a client perspective, and then I'll tell you kind of what we do internally. We work with a lot of founder-based businesses. So some of the big food delivery companies are one of the best examples, and I cannot think of a business that has more escalations in the past 18 months than food delivery. Where is my order, right? One great founder example, Jamie Siminoff, the founder of Ring Doorbell, has been a friend of the firm, if you will, over the years. I know up until when he got purchased by Amazon, he still had j@ring.com, and those for any customer support escalation, installation issue, product issue, and he answered every single one himself, normally within something like 2 hours. Right?
Wow.
A couple of the big food delivery clients we have, same thing. Those founders get those escalations. They have a whole escalation desk. And then those come back to us as a provider to help figure out what went wrong, how do we resolve it.
Okay.
Internally at TaskUs, we're trying to keep that same kind of high touch, high response environment. So we have a place where customers can log escalations directly that our entire C-suite gets access to.
Okay.
And all of our client service managers, our customer success managers, have the ability to go into our CRM system, regardless of the size of the client, and log a case-based escalation. And that gets C-suite attention on a weekly basis. We review a dashboard of all new escalations opened, and these are basically anything our client service managers think might put a client at risk or cause a major satisfaction issue.
Okay.
And it's been a really healthy exception exercise for us, just to make sure that you, regardless of the size of the client, that you're hearing those loud voices and you're listening to your teams in the field about what they need to solve problems. Because the bigger you get, the harder it is to see what's happening at the edge.
Absolutely, yeah. Jarrod, thank you so much for participating in the Growth Advisory Board, as well as being here and joining us today on SBI TV. We've definitely appreciated you being in the SBI community and the insights you have brought to our audience. So thank you very much. To our audience, thank you for tuning in to SBI TV, the Growth Advisory.
To learn more, visit sbigrowth.com.